Thank you so much, Speakers Pathway, for giving me the opportunity to speak today. Uh, it's such an honor, and I'm totally humbled by the opportunity, of course, and want to give a message to the world because my book just came out, and we're going to talk about that. So I'm going to start off asking some simple questions. Did you ever know that once your heart kicks off at 16 weeks, it never stops until you die? Did you know that your heart beats about 100,000 times a day? So the question that keeps coming to me on a regular basis is, if my heart is the powerhouse that sustains me, keeps me going with awareness the minute I wake up with a certain level of consciousness about me, about my existence, then do I not have an obligation to cherish it, to nurture it, to preserve it, and to prevent it from getting hurt physically, emotionally, spiritually? You tell me. So the story is personal. The problem of heart disease, huge, 6 million heart failure in the US, and then God knows what's the rest of the world. One death every 38 seconds. Did you know that? And more than 600 million people will have diabetes by 2030, and diabetes affects the heart in most unimaginable ways. Of course, there is blood pressure and cholesterol and smoking and obesity and the stress of life and the anxiety, unhealthy eating habits, lack of exercise, right? So that brings to my personal story. So what happened in 1977 in January, my father had just come home from a hospital in Bombay where I grew up, discharged with congestive heart failure. He was treated by one of the finest cardiologists. And I had left for medical school at the time. He had just come home, and I knew that he was suffering 1,000 miles away. My final exam was coming up. And just a week before my exam, I had a hunch that my father was not well and had fallen through the cracks. I had no clue. He had passed away a week before my exam. So then, as I walked to my house after I finished my exam, my brothers were looking at me with grief, and I broke down in tears. And my father had been ill for so many times over the last few years of my life, but every time he would be hospitalized, there was a fear that he may not come back alive. While it was not a major surprise when he died, I was still 21, 22. It was tough to handle his absence, and I knew that my father was there for me. He was a great mentor even after he was gone. He embodied the Gandhian philosophy of nonviolence, equality, freedom, truth, and religious tolerance and acceptance. So it wasn't just my father. Then I had 5 brothers, and all of them have had either diabetes or heart disease or both over the years. So truly, it's been a kind of an interesting journey, right? So to be a doctor was one thing. I became a doctor, and the trials and tribulations of internship residency were a totally different animal, but the angst that is etched in the mitochondria was very palpable. Perhaps it is a very ordeal that gives the wherewithal or the chutzpah, I would say, to make it through and perform at times of crisis or at times of an emergency. Perhaps it is the richness of existence and the bountiful experience that's gained over the years with all the mental and physical trauma and the sleep deprivation being part and parcel of this journey that makes one stronger. We know that when a single child in Kenya goes to sleep hungry, the entire planet is malnourished. We know when the ocean of homeless people roam through the streets of Damascus or Dhaka in Bangladesh, then our conscience is indelibly disturbed. We know that when the heart stops beating in Ukraine or in Uruguay, silence engulfs the whole world. And I've been told by my inner therapist to visit a world other than myself, entirely other than myself, on a diligent basis, and have an unquenchable human urge to strive for a better life for the patients that I encounter every day. I have learned that I must be global, that I must be national, that I must be diverse and that I must be technologically advanced, compassionate, and I must bring to all a sense of healing. So clearly, the inexorable nature of suffering and the tales and images of unexpected beauty bring contrast and congruence at the same time. They bring visibility and total indistinctness about our own existence at the same time. So it begs the question about the meaning and purpose of our daily life with warts and all, fractured, unscathed, or both. So after 40 years of my medical school, one thing that was very appealing to me were the stories of the person behind the disease and the struggle that they go through and the inconceivable things that they have accomplished. So I believe strongly that invoking a conversation about these achievements in and of itself is partly a panacea for healing, both their physical and their mental malady. Yes, so the question comes up, what is the solution then? What is the solution? The solution is prevention. There is another word for it. It's called prevention. But there is a synonym that's called prevention. And I have time and again explored the concept of prevention. And I've been telling my patients on a constant basis that yes, it is very important that we prevent the onset of diabetes, the onset of cancer, the onset of hypertension, the onset of heart failure. I always believe that I must marry the knowledge and experience that I've gained through my patients with precise realism that will resonate with intricate and disturbing echoes. Because the world is textured and complex, but the stories are intimate. The stories are universal. To believe that science is perfect is foolhardy. No, there are too many uncertainties in medicine. And to believe that we can cure every heart disease, every cancer would befall on the ludicrous. Yes, while we aspire to help patients reach their highest level of quality and functionality, and if they happen to live longer than expected, yes, then we'll be humble to accept the outcome. We'll praise the Lord, have faith, and worship the higher power that has bestowed the elixir of life upon us. So yes, I guess, have a solution. What is that solution? Well, the solution is about prevention, right? The solution is about prevention. But the prevention is to treat oneself and others as if you're having been given a precious life from up above. The minute you're born, that's why I bring up the concept of that first heartbeat at 16 weeks when you're in your mother's womb. And you have to prevent disease. Then you have to cherish your body. Keep your mind separate from the body and cherish it. And know that inside of you is your own divinity. So every life is divine. So with all the stressors of life, with accumulation of all the layers of negativity, the anxiety, the fear, the humiliation, the isolation, sadness, conflicts, greed, jealousy, anger, hatred, this divinity totally is getting masked. And multiple layers are forming around that divinity. All of these layers, one by one. And what is my purpose and meaning of my existence? So I could actually peel off these layers one by one, right? My purpose is to peel off these layers through worker worship, through psychic control and mindfulness, or through philosophy and unconditional love for all. I should be able to see my own divinity, right? I should be able to see the holiness in every person, benevolence in every animal, and sacrosanctity in everything I hold as nature around me. I should be able to put my hands together as every encounter in this fashion is called namaste. And I should be able to say, I salute the godliness in you. As I peel the layers every day by doing a good deed, getting to the core of my consciousness, only then shall I experience my spirituality? I'm trying very hard. You have to try very hard. Invoke your own divinity that you should be envisioning it to be so dazzling to the sight. I should be envisioning to be so dazzling to the sight, bright with splendor of the fiery sun, blazing from all sides. Yes, we have a solution. And I have a call to action. And what is that call to action? So, in my book, I share the stories with tremendous tenderness, respecting the dignity of my patients who are struggling or have struggled with heart disease, yet always have a sense of hope and a sense of dream to live, to love, and to be loved for one more day. So, allow me to unlock your hidden potential and empower your neurocognitive science. Allow me to expand your knowledge and allow me to shape your future in ways unimaginable. Thank you for your attention. I want to show you my book right now. This is it. It's called Invoking Your Inner Therapist in Heart Failure. Untold patient experiences from prevention to end stage. And if you go through the book here, it has amazing pictures, beautiful stories, through and through with motivational, powerful, inspirational messages. And you will see that some of these stories will resonate for you because either you have experienced or somebody in your family or your friend, because this book is for anyone with a heart. Thank you for being here.
Kris, would you be kind enough to share your website and email address so people can get in touch with you, sir?
So KVIJAYMD, Kris Vijay, but KVIJAYMD, that's for medical doctor, @gmail.com. And my nonprofit, who I'm working with, called Twin Epidemic. We chant for Twin Epidemic of Diabetes and Heart Disease among multiple communities around the world. So Twin, TWINEPIDEMIC.com. So that's my website. And Spotlight is my publisher, so you can go Spotlight Publishing and you'll see Becky Norwood's website as well, and you can access Spotlight Publishing website as well. So those are some of the things, or you can actually directly text me, and I have a business, let me show you that thing here. Let's see if it comes up. There it is. Elevate BI. So get your Elevate card. It says connect with me here, or you can text me, share. It says text Kris Vijay, KRISVIJAY to 64600. That way, then you can directly get access to me, and then we can have conversations about that. So big thanks.